1. Nikon AF-P DX Nikkor 10 to 20mm. The Nikon AF-P DX Nikkor 10 to 20mm f4.5 to 5.6G VR has one of the widest fields of view and is perhaps the best new wide-angle zoom lens that the brand currently offers. It is a lightweight, versatile, and affordable piece of glass. It's the wide-angle lens that many Nikon users go for. Its useful focal range of 10 to 20mm is perfect for capturing vast landscapes, architecture, and interiors. What makes it stand out is its built-in optical stabilization, which comes in handy when shooting in marginal light. It's also an AFP lens, which means autofocusing is quieter and smoother. It won't work for Nikon DSLRs that were released 5 or more years ago, so it's best to assess compatibility if you're using an older camera model. 2. Nikon 50mm f1.8D AF. The Nikon 50mm f1.8D is the first Nikon lens for an FX that is not only affordable, but also super lightweight and compact too. The image quality out of this impressive Nikon lens is nothing short of incredible, especially when you consider its price. It is a very sharp lens, and its focus speed is also very fast, due in part to its small size and weight. The Nikon 50mm f1.8D focuses almost instantly. It's great for capturing fast-moving subjects in less than desirable light. The Nikon 50mm f1.8D can be used on both full-frame FX and cropped sensor DX Nikon DSLR. The focal length will be approximately 75mm, meaning the Nikon 50mm f1.8D becomes a flattering portrait lens. Whilst it's not the best lens for portraits, this lens is also very durable and has been known to last a very long time of continued use. The outer focus ring moves during autofocus. The Nikon 50mm f1.8D AF is affordable enough to act as a backup, while still being sharp enough to be used for much more. 3. Nikon AFS DX 16 to 80mm f2.8 4E ED VR. With class-leading wide-angle coverage and a generous zoom range, the Nikon AFS DX 16 to 80mm f2.8 4E ED VR is equivalent to using a 24 to 120mm zoom on an FX body. The widest available aperture shrinks from f2.8 to f4 at longer zoom settings. The upside is that the lens is smaller and lighter than constant aperture f2.8 zooms. High-tech attractions include an electromagnetically controlled diaphragm, ring-type ultrasonic autofocus, a focus distance scale beneath a viewing panel, 4 ED elements, and nano-crystal coat. Keep clean fluorine coatings are also applied to the front and rear elements. Nikon's unstabilized 17 to 55mm f2.8 zoom used to rule the DX roost, but this newer lens has become the most appealing choice for general shooting requirements. 4. Nikon AFS DX Nikkor 35mm. The Nikon AFS DX Nikkor 35mm f1.8G is a very handy piece of glass that you're sure to make the most use of if you are a portrait photographer with a full-frame Nikon DSLR camera. When attached to an FX format DSLR, this lightweight and super sharp DX format lens produces a cropped field of view equivalent to 50mm, the normal distortion-free field of view that resembles how we see the world with our eyes. Despite the sensor size of your camera, this large aperture portrait lens allows you to brighten low-light scenes and produce beautifully blurred backgrounds for creative effect. Considering its many benefits and affordable price tag, this lens is definitely one to consider. 5. Tamron 10 to 24mm f3.5 to 4.5. This is an awesome lens if you love shooting landscapes or architecture. It's the first DX wide-angle lens to bring image stabilization to Nikon users. You gain a whopping 4 stops when shooting handheld. It also has a weather sealing and fluorine-coated front element. This means that you're that much more protected when shooting in the elements near waterfalls or shooting over long periods of time. The Tamron 10 to 24mm f3.5 to 4.5 is compatible on FX or DX Nikon camera bodies. On a DX, 10 to 24mm is the 35mm equivalent of 15 to 36mm in APS-C terms, and allows you to capture more of a scene in a single frame than something like the 18 to 55mm Nikon kit lens. Performance-wise, HLD autofocus is pretty much instantaneous and almost always accurate. It feels solid, even though it's compact and relatively lightweight. The zoom ring feels good in the hand, and though the manual focus ring is small, its action is smooth and easy. The manual focus on this lens comes with a full-time override that allows you to make fine adjustments without having to disengage your autofocus. The Tamron 10 to 24mm f3.5 to 4.5 does lag a bit in sharpness when wide open in low light conditions. But considering it's only an f3.5 to 4.5, this isn't that it's expected. Also, there is some distortion when shooting wide open, as well as vignetting. Both of these are easily corrected in post-processing, especially if you're shooting in RAW. This lens packs a world of performance into a lightweight, compact body. It handles beautifully, has amazing vibration control, and won't break the bank. 6. Sigma 24 to 70mm f2.8 DG/OS HSM-A. Nikon's latest AFS 24 to 70mm f2.8 ED VR is a beast of a standard zoom, measuring 155mm in length and 1070 grams in height. Its robust, high-end performance and superb image quality make it the choice of many professional photographers around the world. Though it's incredibly expensive, the lens isn't as weather-sealed as other Nikon versions, but it's still immaculately well-engineered. It's physically shorter and marginally lighter, but matches the Nikon for all-round performance and image quality. Sharpness and contrast are incredible, while bokeh is amazingly smooth. Color fringing, distortions, and vignetting are very well controlled. Autofocus is super quick and quiet, while the force-stop stabilizer is equally effective as the Nikon lens's VR system. At around half the price of the Nikon lens, the Sigma is vastly better value. 7. Sigma 14 to 24mm f2.8 DG HSM-A. The Sigma 14 to 24mm delivers equally stellar image quality in terms of sharpness and contrast. Better still, it has control over color fringing and distortions, both aberrations being incredibly minimal for an ultra-wide zoom. The top performance optics are wrapped up in a superbly well-engineered and fully weather-sealed barrel. The maximum viewing angle isn't quite as extreme as in Sigma's 12 to 24mm art lens, but all in all, the new 14 to 24mm outperforms the equivalent Nikon lens and is less expensive to buy.